The search for answers in the death of 8-year-old Marty Cobb. Tonight, his distraught mother talks to NBC 12 for the first time about the little boy she calls an innocent child.
We're also hearing from those left behind to grieve and comfort his sister.
Last night, her assault triggered a tragic chain of events that led to her brother's death. And now the same community who wept together just hours ago hopes to come together tonight to heal.
Richmond reporter Laura Geller joins us live with more on this tragedy in South Richmond. Laura?
Well, Kurt and Sabrina, around here, Martin Cobb is known as Marty. His mother wasn't originally planning on talking with us, but she came out of this house behind me with photos and toys, wanting the world to learn about her son, a little boy who's now called a hero. Clinging to a photo of her only son, Shireen Sproul swallows back sobs, but the tears spill out. She'll never be able to actually hold him again.
Innocent child.
Beautiful.
And he's very happy. And he loves his mama. He's a mama's boy. It's my baby.
A baby whose life was taken far too soon after a courageous act. No one here is surprised Marty was standing up for his 12-year-old sister. The two are described as being joined at the hip. While the 8-year-old was small in stature, he was his sister's brave protector.
How close were he and his sister? Were they
Yes, he defend her because I tell him, you the man of the house. Protect the ladies. And he tried to protect his sister, and he got killed.
Police sources tell me the two were playing near the railroad tracks behind their house when a teen began sexually assaulting the 12-year-old girl. Marty tried to intervene and he was beaten to death. In fact, there is a mark on the ground where his head was, according to sources. We're also told the siblings knew their attacker. Those close to the investigation tell me the teen's parents told police he came home last night and asked to be taken here to the Tucker Pavilion at Chippenham Hospital, where his mental health is being evaluated. Now the family left behind on Brandon Road want to know why this happened. As they search for answers through their grief, their deep heartbreak is explained simply in the words of a child, a 7-year-old friend who only wants to tell Marty one thing.
Yeah, I missed him.
We're told right now the 12-year-old girl is still in the hospital being treated for her injuries. Police say they have taken out warrants for the arrest of the suspect. We've also learned that suspect threatened the little girl, and that's why she gave a false description originally. We are live in South Richmond tonight. I'm Laura Geller for NBC 12 News.
We've learned that same teenager, now 16, attacked a toddler with a hammer 4 years ago. Now that child's family is talking only to NBC 12. They believe little Marty Cobb's death could have been prevented. Richmond reporter Laura Geller joins us with this NBC 12 investigation. Laura?
Well, Sabrina, the suspect was 12 when that brutal attack happened in 2010. We were able to get a hold of these court records, which show Maurice Washington was charged with malicious wounding after bludgeoning a 3-year-old with a hammer. That child survived, and tonight his stunned family wants to know how that suspect was able to hurt another little boy. From this picture, you'd never know the trauma this smiling little boy endured at such a young age. He almost didn't make it to his 7th birthday his family recently celebrated.
It brings chills to my spine. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's just something that you don't want to go through.
Upon hearing what happened to 8-year-old Marty Cobb last Thursday night, Heather Arrington was brought immediately back in time. Her family will never forget that night in September of 2010 when then 3-year-old Malachi was found beaten and bloodied on Accommodation Street in Richmond. After almost 100 staples, a metal plate in his head, and 4 years, Malachi's pain is still real.
Wet in the bed and a lot of that, and just, Mommy, I'm scared, and a lot of nightmares.
We were able to obtain this letter from the prosecutor, which explains after Malachi's beating, Maurice Washington was supposed to receive mental health treatment, including medications and counseling, and after it was complete, be placed on probation. Sources confirm Washington, the same defendant in Malachi's case, is the suspect in Marty's murder. Malachi's family tells NBC 12 detectives have talked to them and apologized because they were supposed to be notified when the teen was released released, but that never happened.
I felt like the public needed to know that this young man was a danger.
Now they tell me investigators are assuring them they are working hard to make sure this young man does not hurt anyone again.
I definitely feel like this is where the system has failed us again.
We reached out by email and phone to the suspect's lawyers late today. They told us they have no comment on this. We also stopped by the 16-year-old's home to speak with his family, but were asked to leave. I'm Laura Geller for NBC 12 News. Kurt, that new information has some believing Marty Cobb and his sister are the latest victims of the problem-plagued Department of Social Services we've been telling you about for a year. Now, sources tell me tonight in just the last 8 months alone, there have been 3 CPS complaints dealing with Marty's family.
New information tonight, little Marty Cobb and his sister slipped through the cracks of a broken social services system. Sources tell NBC 12 the death of Cobb, who the family says was killed while trying to save his sister from a sexual assault, could have been prevented. We've uncovered 3 CPS complaints, including allegations of physical abuse, neglect, and lack of supervision. And the problems we've been telling you about that have plagued DSS for more than a year played out right inside Marty's home. According to insiders, the worker assigned to the case has been out on medical leave, and supervisors never reassigned anyone else to cover these children. We've also learned the children's mother, Shireen Sproul, whose heart-wrenching interview we brought you the day after Marty died, has a criminal record.
And today, police confirm a shooting we told you about last August on this block of Brandon Road actually happened inside Marty's home. A male accidentally shot himself. Sources say at the time, several adults were drinking inside the home.
And that's not the only time police have responded to this home. Check out this long list of the times officers have been here. Some of the calls we've uncovered include vice and sex offenses, along with a noise complaint and what's listed as domestic trouble. Now, even with all of this contact with the system, it took her rape and the death of her brother for authorities to keep the 12-year-old sister out of that home. Sources confirm she is not under Sproul's care right now.
And we went to Sproul's home behind me today to ask her about these CPS complaints, but a man at the home told us she did not want to talk to us. We've also checked in with the interim head of the Department of Social Services. We are waiting to hear back from him. That's the very latest information I have for you. We are live in South Richmond. I'm Laura Geller for NBC 12 News.
It's a heart-wrenching revelation from the mother of a Richmond boy who was killed, reportedly trying to save his sister from a sexual assault. Tonight, Marty Cobb's mother tells NBC 12 justice for her son will only come when the teenager accused of this crime is dead. She spoke only with Richmond reporter Laura Geller, who's here now with the full story. Laura?
Well, Kurt, our interview with Marty Cobb's mom comes just hours after a hearing for the 7-year-old's alleged killer. Tears streaming down her face, almost manic with grief. She answered our question about whether a trial in the justice system would help her move forward.
It's been said justice means different things to different people. There was no hesitation as Marty Cobb's mother discussed her feelings on her son's accused killer, Maurice Washington.
I want him dead.
After a dramatic interview the day after Marty was beaten to death behind their home as he tried to save his sister from an alleged sexual assault by a teenager the children knew, and what was described as bizarre behavior at his funeral, we haven't heard much from Shireen Sproul. Now she'll go to court tomorrow to ask a judge to let the daughter Marty died trying to save return home.
Did she talk about Marty at all?
She just got mad pictures and posted.
What are you hoping for tomorrow?
To get my baby back and to move on with my life.
Moving on has been nearly impossible.
I feel like killing myself to go with him.
Friends try to pull Sproul from that grief now, even wiping tears from her eyes.
She sits in his room on his bed with all the little stuff that everybody brought him, and she sing to him, she talked to him, and she said he talked to her back sometimes. She'll hold a whole conversation with him for like 30 minutes.
The family of accused killer Maurice Washington still is not talking, however.
I have no comment, thank you.
We've learned a mental evaluation is complete, but today attorneys put off setting a definite trial date. They have to check witnesses' availability. We should know in the next couple weeks when the 2-day jury trial will begin.
I just want justice for my son.